Awesome. Well, I got Matt here again because I wanted to really pick his brain while he was here, like his experience growing up with, again, a dad who he saw two out of every three, like two times every 3 days or so, and just that experience, like to me, hearing that, I'm like, what it like for me, I'm like, I wish dad was around. Oh, dad doesn't pay, dad doesn't care. He cares more about his work, or he cares more about this. But it sounds like that's not, at least for me, it sounds like that's not the experience that you had. And it sounds like there's a wholeness that, yeah, despite him not being there for a certain amount, like him not being able to spend all the time that was spent kind of not made up for it, but you felt complete. Again, I'm assuming, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah. So the first thing that comes to mind as you say that is like, one of the challenges that I face is that I have flexible schedule, right? It's great. Freedom is great. And I have responsibilities and I have commitments and I have things that are going to get done one way or another, but I have flexibility in that schedule. So trying to, stick to a routine, but at the end of the day, at any moment in time, I could be with Micah, or I could be helping my wife with something or whatever. That's the hardest part of this whole thing. It is, it's the greatest thing in the world and it's the hardest thing in the world at the same time. The difference to your question is that my dad was a fireman and I knew that he didn't have a choice, right? He had to work 24-hour shifts every third day. And so it never felt that he was choosing that over me. It's just, that's what it was. But when he was home and the 2 out of every 3 days that I had both parents present, yes, complete would be a great word to explain that. And just the level that they cared and that they showed up every day is, I think, why what I mentioned about showing up every day is my mission to anything that I'm doing is to be reliable, to be consistent, to have energy, to have passion, to care. There's too many people going through the motions, doing things that they hate, and it's too short to do that. So, yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I think complete is a great word. And more so than the time, again, it's what went into the time.
That's excellent. And I also want to tie this into another question I had from previous, like, look, you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner. And most people who run a business, even most people who just most men who go for a career, it's like, where's the balance? I'm spending so much time here. Like when I was living in Jersey, I can't tell you how many men I knew who commuted to New York for an hour, worked there, and then commuted an hour back. And just like, what is some advice that you have for a man, like, again, like when it comes to that balance, how would you balance your time? Again, you work from home, but it's also like your success still requires time.
Yeah, it is hard, and it gets harder, and it's more challenging, I guess, is the word, to ensure that you are putting yourself in the best position possible to be the best parent and professionally to maximize your opportunities there. The one thing that I think might be relevant here is like the commute could be a great separator for turning it on, turning it off, becoming the best professional you can, becoming the best dad you can, and vice versa. My commute, like I mentioned, is walking up and down the stairs. But I literally have that mental boundary that when I get into the office, I'm committed to being the best dad I can be. You saw Micah here earlier. That's not really the case very often, because when I leave this door, I'm going to be the best dad I can be. And so, again, moment to moment to moment, that's the mission. Now, the challenge is how many hours collectively are spent here versus with being a dad or being a husband, and being cognizant of that, understanding my wife's needs, where she's able to deliver and where she needs help, or when she needs help on the front or the back end of certain things, or at times just saying, hey, I'm going to take Micah for a ride and we're going to go to the gym and we're going to play in the play place or whatever for the next couple hours. And so having that routine, but also spontaneously sometimes, as work allows, or, I don't know how the corporate world completely operates, because I've been doing this since day one that I got out of college, but If you can get off of work a day early, sometimes I cut it early, or I flip my schedule, or I say, hey, I'm going to get up early tomorrow, stay up late, then, to maximize those opportunities. It's the flexibility, I think, within there that is important. And then back to when I finished college, before I or got married shortly after, and then it was 4 years or so, until 5 years until Micah was born. It was a constant kind of lifestyle design process with the vision that one day I'd love to be a dad, right? And whether it happens or not, I can't control entirely, but that would be amazing. So with that was just a really conscious effort, I think, at every step of the way, continuing to be that way, is designing, okay, what do I want to do? How much of it do I want to do? Where do I want to do it? Who do I want to do it with? And then can I get good enough at this thing to get paid enough to do it, to make and fulfill on what I have mapped out as the, income that's needed to cover expenses and do this the way that I want to do it. So within all of that, it's like, it's being aware and planning for the future, and also being able to adapt in the moment. Like, a lot of people that I see have a great vision for the next 20 years of what they want. Not a lot, I guess. If there's a few people, a small percentage of people that have a really clear vision for what they want in the next 20 years. But they stay so rigid in their commitment to that sometimes they miss the juice of life along the way. And so while my vision is generally the same, the day-to-day and the month-to-month and the year-to-year is certainly very malleable, if that's the word, flexible,
Yeah.
or it can be molded and shaped, so it's a balancing act of all of the above.
For the dad who maybe he has trouble shifting that perspective. Maybe he's like, look, I got to work. I got to put in that time. Or I was speaking to a gentleman last night, and he's like, look, like most men, like they're working the overtime because they want to save up for the family trip to Disney World. And then he never bothered to ask his daughter if she wanted him to do that, or if she'd rather have time with him. And for that guy who's maybe struggling with that shift, what is some advice that you have for him? Why is this an important thing to do?
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, I think that sounds like a communication thing, understanding, hey, I'm doing this right now because, I tell Micah sometimes when I'm going upstairs and he said, Dad, 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 Dad. He said, I'm going upstairs because I love you. And it's not that that's more important. It all is a very, I have like a relatively holistic view on life in general, but it all, fits together. And so I guess it's kind of the perspective. I get that perspective in itself is understanding that, yes, you can choose in every moment what you're doing or what you're focusing on, but also macro, bigger picture, hey, like this is so that you have options and opportunities and college, and you have, things in life that, and same for my wife. It's like, I when I am here and I'm doing my thing and I'm not with her and I'm not with Micah, she, I think, understands, because we've communicated that it's because I love her and I love Micah and I want to provide the best that I can for them. It's not so much thinking about myself or wanting to take a vacation as much as it is like, what are their wants and their needs, and can I deliver on that? And it's also like in my line of work, we have, clients that we work with that we win when they win. And that's been the last 7 years of my life is, I think, I don't know who said the quote, but it was Jim Rohn probably, that if you help enough other people get what they want in life, you'll get what you want.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thesis for my entire business is if we can help them get what they want, we'll get what we want. That's secondary. And because it's secondary, it may become significant. And it's the same thing with my wife and son is if I can help them get what they want and what they need, then I'll have what I want and need. Whether that is I'm working now, or I'm on vacation, or I'm going to an event, or I'm with you and we're playing basketball, or whatever it is, that's like a level of understanding throughout all of the family, I think is critical to know that, okay, this is why he's doing that. This is why he's not here. And so back to your question on how do you make that shift? Understanding the time and doing your best, yes, but communicating, I think that, and not just through words, but communicating that through your actions and your energy is probably an important piece of that puzzle too. And the last thing, kind of a sidebar on this, is your energy is largely going to be made up of, you can manufacture your energy through your nutrition, through your workout, through your recovery, through the way that you take care of yourself. And I could certainly do a much better job of this. But that is where like you're going to find the energy. In addition to, you've got to be passionate about a thing and you've got to like what you're doing. That's where you're going to find the energy to sustain yourself through that and being present in here and there and here all day, every day long. So I think a lot of people who are trying to make a shift or are trying to say, hey, I got to pay the bill. It's like more so, can you generate or manufacture more energy towards a thing or towards all three areas of life or whatever the case might be, to where, yes, now that work that you're putting in is producing a better result. The time that you are with your family is more impactful and the relationships are stronger as a result. So as human beings, we are all energetic. We're made of energy, and maximizing that, and not just, I guess one example as a dad is, at least with a young kid, is, he's in bed at 8 o'clock. Well, I could stay up until, and I have, it's certainly not perfect, but there's times I stay up until midnight or it gets past midnight because I'm, talking with my wife, which is great, but sometimes she's asleep too. And I'm just watching TV or scrolling social media or working on something or whatever. And then I go to bed, and that can impact an entire week of routine and energy, versus if I'm in bed at 10 and I'm up at 4 a.m. Now I know I'm going to have a better, more quality, higher performing day in all areas of life. So being cognizant again and aware of, your body type, your job, everybody's unique. They certainly shouldn't try to do what I'm doing, but what is it that you can do, what you can implement to bring a greater level of energy to what you're doing? And that's probably going to solve a lot of that. How do I, I got to prepare, I got to provide for the family. And I don't have the time, and it's like, okay, well, if you can bring a greater level of energy to this and that, maybe that's the answer.
Dude, I love that. Thank you so much again, Matt, for this extended period of time. And dude, I hope everyone took so many notes. There's so much to take out of this, especially if you're a first year dad, especially. Thank you, Matt.
You got it, man. Appreciate it.